I'm sitting here, he's sitting there, and my dad's sitting there. Welcome back, family. So let's get right into it. How and why I was messing with my dad's friend. Where do I start? So a time came in where I started working with my dad. So I'm around my dad a lot. I'm around his people a lot. Go here, do this, go there, do that. Cool, no problemo. But then in the midst of all that, there was a gentleman. And obviously when I first saw him, cool, I didn't think anything of him, good or bad, just a human being, a man, cool. But then as time goes on, you're mixing, you're blending, the energies are flowing, you start seeing things, feeling things. So I was like, okay, whatever. And I know for shizzle that I didn't kick it off. I can't say I know for shizzle because the next sentence was going to be I can't remember, but I think he moved to me. If I can't remember, then that means I don't know for shizzle. So, that's invalid. But there was a high chance it was not me who started it. It was him who started it. You know how they come, look at 1-2 line, take the number, hit you up for something different, but basically warming you up. So I'm just about to say something, but it's just like, you get me? Don't want to make it too identifiable. So the time comes where we're in a certain situation where we got to spend a good amount of time with each other. And that's where it started building up more, because it was like on a weekly basis. You get me? Okay, we're all gathering here, we're all gathering here, we're all gathering here to do this thing. So we're building up this rapport. And then we then, like I said, start chit-chatting, and things moved relatively fast. And we ended up hooking up. So we've had our first hookup now, chilling, whatever. Okay, cool. That went well. So now we're locked in. It's just like, okay, because before you might be like feeling something, having a little chit chat, but you don't really know what I want. So you go in for the kill, and then after that, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, solidified or not. So now we're in. Now we're in. Two things happen. I can't remember which order they happened in, but we then, a group of us, had to go away somewhere for a few days. So we all go there, chilling, everything's fine. And then I don't know what I was on, I don't know what I was thinking, I don't really know. But okay, actually I do know. So I started doing some risky things. What were the risky things? Getting with my dad's friend, number one, is risky. Number two, now we've gone to this place that we're all there. There was a time where everybody was in one room and was sort of having almost like a movie night, something just to wrap up, the week or whatever. Everybody's there choosing where they're sitting, and I've decided to go and sit next to him. But obviously, we already know we have to be extremely D-low, extremely careful, because we're doing this, you get me, behind many people's back. So me going to sit next to him was already risky, because it's sort of like, okay, you get me, they're a bit close and it's dark, so what's all this? So I'll go and sit next to him, and then I think we had blankets and stuff, so we've got the blankets all over us. like I said, I don't know what I was thinking, but I started moving risky. So now it's like my hands going places now. And he's like, what the? He's like, yo, like, nah, this girl's. I think at that moment he thought, oh no, what have I done? What have I done? Because now I've done it. She's now doing it. Like, she's now doing her own thing. I can't stop her. What if she starts getting out of control and exposes me and exposes this thing? So he was like, he kind of had a word with me, like, yo, like, nah, can't be doing that. It's too risky. So I was like, giggled. And then I was like, all right, I've heard you. Then maybe like 2 days later, whatever, we're still at this place. And I don't know how I discovered this place, but I started walking around the building and then I found that at the highest floor is like an attic that they've, refurbished. And then they got like some showers in there. So as I'm going, I'm like, oh, right, here's nice, blah, blah, blah. So the time came, everyone's hanging around, it's like social time. So I go to him, come, follow me. And he's like, where you going? I said, just come, let me show you something. Boom, boom. Okay. And then I take him to the shower place. And basically we end up getting jiggy in the shower. Oh, I keep giggling, but I shouldn't giggle. It's not good. So we get jiggy in the shower. Bearing in mind, it's not like people are sleeping, people are engaged. This is social time. People are bopping around all over. Anybody could have come and been like, yo, what's going on? And it would not have been good. Like, when I say it would not have been good if we got caught, it would not have been good. It would have been better that my dad caught. That would have been better than these people catching us. Oh, it would have been, we would have got in big trouble. So that's happened now. And now he's just like, I'm definitely in a mess, man. I'm in a mess with this girl. That's what you get. So he's like, and he probably feels like I need to comply with this girl. When she tells me like, let's do this, let's do that, I need to do it because I don't want to get me doing the most. Which was not the case. That I didn't have any of those intentions or those plans. So, but it worked. So that's happened now. Then I remember there was a time, I found myself. I'm sitting here. He's sitting there. And my dad's sitting there. And we're all having a convo. And he's actually talking to my dad about something that he wants to work with my dad on. Already he's doing a little bit of work with my dad already, but I think there's something more he kind of wanted to do. And I remember sitting and just thinking, this life is wild. Like, look at all three of us here. Some know something, some know nothing. And I'm looking at this guy like, what a piece of work. I'm like, wow, is this what these guys are on? I'm looking at him, looking at my dad, looking at myself. All of this already is risky. Why am I even here? Like, why am I in the vicinity of these two? But it became very clear to me that I was enjoying the risk. That's what actually this was about. You get what I'm saying? I didn't know that that's what I wanted because I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't really looking at him that way. But once I took a bite of the apple, that was it. I was in. I was like, oh, this is edgy. This is risky. This is, you get me? Cool. I could mess with this a bit. Give me a little bit of energy in life. Give me a bit of a pump. Sometimes that happens when your life's more like, zzz, you want a little kick, which is fine, but you got to monitor what type of kick you're going for, how high you want to go, and how powerful you want it to be. Because when you go up, you're coming down. So that's what's happening now. He's around my dad, and I think it started to kind of affect him a little bit. Like, I think him started to eat at him a little bit. So a time's come now where we're taking the risks higher. He's now brought me to his house, but he's actually married with 2, 3 children. Maybe not married, but you know what I mean. He's in a committed relationship. So there we go. And I went to his yard and we got jiggy in his yard. But something happened. When we left the yard now, his energy was just like he started moving aggy. I didn't take it personal. I just thought, I don't blame you, to be honest. You probably feel like crap with what you've just done. You weren't thinking straight. You thought, yo, I got a free yard, come over. But now it's all done. You're just like, yo, what's becoming of me? But instead of you to have that convo with yourself, you're putting it on me. You want to be upset with me. So I just giggled. I was like, okay, whatever. I can see you're a bit emotional. That's cool. Because at the same time, I was emotional too. And I was doing the same thing as him. I wasn't putting it on me. I was thinking about him. I was like, you're a scumbag, actually. Are you gonna bring me to your wife's yard? Like, are you gonna bring me to your family home? So it made me look down on him. Remember, I like all the risky stuff. I'm doing all the risky stuff. But there was a certain level. Now, I say all that to say, he told me, come to my family home. So when I got up, got dressed and made my way there, I knew all that. So the talk that I'm talking now, I wasn't talking that talk when I was making my way there. I'm also now, that's what I'm saying. I was having this talk now after things have happened. Why? Because in fact, I'm seeing myself as a scumbag. I'm like, yo, like you're out. You went to his family home, like. But instead of me talking to myself about my actions, I'm putting it on him. I'm like, yo, scumbag, how can you invite me to your family home? So now we're like having a little and that's what happens when you're both involved in evil together. Sweet in the beginning, but then we know that those storylines, those people always end up turning on each other, switching on each other. It's just how it goes. They don't plan to do it. Nobody does. But it's energetic, it's spiritual, it's like a principle, it's like a law. It just happens. You just need to be ready for when it does happen, you understand? Because you don't know when it's going to hit you. More time you think you got away with it. Like, we done very risky things, we had fun, oh, it was nice, we thought we were going to keep going up with it until one day we didn't even see it coming. We just ended up turning on each other because already we were breeding evil energy because we're doing evil things. You get what I'm saying? So it was only going to backfire on us in a matter of time. So shortly after that, going about my business, I'm doing my thing. My phone's ringing now. So got my phone. I'm like, looks like a decent number, but it's not saved. But you get me? Don't look dodgy. So I pick up, and I'm like, hello. And then once again, hello. Hi. Do you know? Like, yeah. I need you to stop mixing with him. I think that's where I got the wife husband thing. I think because that's what she said. She's like, that's my husband. We've got children together. Blah 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 blah. And I was like, this is bad. Like, because she wasn't rude, she wasn't aggy. Obviously, she was straightforward. She wasn't calling me to be my friend, but she was just like, yo, you get me? And like I said, didn't feel good. I was just like, oh nah, default. Like, in my head, I'm thinking, yeah, that's already locked off anyway, because me and him have already had our little 2-2 pass like that. I will not be dealing with him anymore. So you ain't got nothing to worry about in that sense. But still, it was painful to get a call like that. And obviously, you got to look at yourself and just be a bit, you know what I'm saying? And I think another thing that was sad, I was carrying the weight of it all. Like, I'm thinking, I'm carrying the weight of a man who's in a place where he's cheating on his wife. That's a dark place. No matter how he tries to decorate it, like, I'm having fun, you get me, I'm doing my thing, or is disgusting. It's just disgusting. And when I mean disgusting, not in the sense of filthy disgusting, but disgusting as in is not decorative, it's ugly. Like it's an ugly situation to be in, it's an ugly lifestyle. You get what I'm saying? So that was on my shoulder. My sins were on my shoulder. The sadness and pity of the wife is on my shoulder. And then the disrespect of the children is also on my shoulder. Forget the deception and the sneakiness that I'm doing behind my dad's back. Forget that. I haven't even added that in. Because if I add that one in, you get me, I'm done. So that's on my head. The rest were on my shoulders, but that was on my head. Because it started eating at me. So, okay. But this is where things got more awkward. Me and him have had our little tiff. I've had a phone call from the wife. But him and my dad are still people thems. So he's still coming around my dad. He's still coming around me. You get me? And it's just like, every time he's around, it's just like, you get me? And it's just like, I haven't heard his name in ages. My dad hasn't said his name in ages. But I know that they're still cool. Like my dad could flick out his name anytime and be like, oh, yo, you know, I saw ... or ... brought me this, or ... said that, easy, because there's no bad blood there. So once again, you do something once, and then it can just drag and linger throughout your whole life, where now, every now and then, you got to duck and dive. You get me? You got to duck and dive. Because imagine he comes around my dad again, but this time he's with his wife or whatever, and she decides to say it. What happens then? Because I don't know if she knows my face or not. I don't know if she knows exactly who I am. But you know, sometimes these men, when their wife catch them, they buckle because they feel like the only way that she's gonna forgive them is if they let it all out. So they start saying, yo, is this girl is here, I met her here, this is what happened, blah blah blah, this is how it went, you know, forgive me. So she could know quite a few details about me just through my dad alone. He could literally say, she's the daughter of this guy. Boom. So who knows? But say all that to say, around that time, maybe a little bit before, maybe during, maybe a little bit after, can't fully remember. But my dad, remember I told you I'm working with him, so we're in his office. And then he's trying to have a little chat with me, but it's not really flowing. I'm like, what are you really trying to tell me? He's a bit like, you know, women, men, but it's not. So I was just like, okay. And then he hands me a book. He says, read this book. And I was like, okay. I think he said to me, it's about like women in leadership and kind of dealing with men whilst being in that role, something like that. Or I read the back of the book and that's what the book was trying to say to me. So I'm young then, I'm not really thinking straight. I'm just thinking, I don't want to read a book. I don't want to read this book. I don't care for the content of this book. So obviously I didn't read the book. I don't know where it is. Maybe he's got it. I don't know. But years later, looking back, I'm like, oh, my dad was trying to have that talk with me. Not that he knew that I was mixing with his bedroom. He probably did, maybe, or he could sense that something was going on, but he thought, no, they wouldn't, or they couldn't, or he thought, I can sense something's going on, but unless I get proof, and I'm sure I'm not gonna dig that because that's not something I want to know about. Maybe, I don't know. But like I said, he's now finding himself trying to have a certain convo with me. And you know, in the African community, they don't really talk to us about sex and all those type of things. But I think my dad was like, yo, my daughter's growing. I'm seeing certain signs. Like, I gotta say something or do something. You get what I mean? So he's obviously struggled to talk to me about it with his mouth face to face, and he's tried to do it through a book, which is good. So if you're a parent, you need some tips sometimes, you struggle to chat with your children, that's one way you can do it. Sending them content, sending them this video, gifting them a book, gifting them a certain type of course, giving them a ticket to a certain type of event with their friend, or you always got to buy two. You can't be sending them alone, and you don't, unless it's appropriate, you shouldn't be going with them because they want to get there and be free and move free. Not all my mum and my dad's here, so I got to, you get me? So I guess my dad, that was the best. That's what he thought. Okay, this is something I can do in this style, but that didn't really work for me. The type of girl I am or was, I just needed to hear it straight in words, because me, I like to talk as well. So that would have turned into a convo, which I guess would have been harder for my dad than for me, you know, because you can imagine a man talking to his daughter about stuff like that, African man too, make him choke up a bit. It wouldn't have been easy for me either, like, don't get it wrong, but it just would have been a bit easier, I think, because obviously you're my dad, so you're my provider, you're my protector. So in my brain, you're built to take a few bullets. Like, that's just the reality of life. That's, you get me? So if I got to say some things to you, get a bit real or raw, if I have to do it, I will. The question is, can you kind of take it on? And but obviously, if you've watched questions and comments how my family responded to the series 10 Ways I Ruined My Life, you will hear about how eventually my dad came all the way around, and he did end up having to sit in front of me for me to give him the extremely raw and real story of my life and all the things I had done and been up to. So I'm not saying he dodged it in the beginning, but yeah, if you try to kind of dodge it in the beginning or do it in a softer way or cut a corner, if the job ain't done right, you're gonna have to do it again. You get me? So my dad ended up having to sit in front of me again to hear it all, to hear the story properly and clearly this time, not through a book, not through an indirect, just outright raw. So my dad did try. I give him them. I give that to him. I give that to him. For an African man, he tried, but it didn't really come to much, to be honest. But I say that it didn't come to much then, but it's come to a lot now. Now that I look back and I'm like, oh, makes sense now, Why my dad tried to give me that book, why he tried to chat to me and all them things. I'm like, okay, makes sense, makes sense. And a part of me is like, I wish I read that book, man. I don't know if it would have helped or whether I would have gained anything from it, but sometimes you say you're looking for guidance, you're looking for direction, you're looking for help, you're looking for support, but when it comes, you reject it. When you can't, sometimes even worse than that, when it comes, you don't even recognize it. There's nothing can beat that. When you can't even recognize when help is in front of you, that's when it's just like, okay, you know what? That's when you're at risk, and it shows with regards to the lifestyle that I ended up living after that. So yeah, man. Yeah, it's one of them things there. It's one of them things there. Um yeah, that was serious stuff. So once again, a reminder, I'll be doing the YouTube live. If you're interested, joining me on YouTube live, sharing your story or your confessions. Someone put in the comments, what did they say? Confessions of transgressions, which I really like, so I might rub that title. If you want to confess some of your transgressions, you can join me most definitely, because that's just the era we're in. Like, that's the era I'm in, basically. Setting myself free from all of those type of stuff. Like, I remember having a conversation with my mom, and she brought up this story in the Bible where Jacob was blessing his 12 sons, the 12 tribes of Judah. He got to one of the sons and he goes to the son, you see, your people, them, your descendants, they're going to have bare battles, bare struggles. Like, people will just be taking the piss out of them. It's going to be long for you lot. But a time's going to come where you're going to take your own hands and break the chains off your neck. You're not going to say to anybody, yo, can you help me? You're not going to say to somebody, yo, I'm chained, so I can't reach the key. Can you get it for me? You're not going to get a tool and say, I'm going to try and cut this. No. You're going to get so fed up, you're going to take your own bare hands and break the chain off your own neck. And that is the era that I'm in. That is the era I want to escort you into as well when you're ready. Where you finally stand up and say, you know what? Bun it. Bun it. Just bun it. Bun it. Ain't got nothing to lose. You get me? Ain't got nothing to lose. I always say, if we were going to live forever here on this earth, then I can argue we got something to lose. But we're crossing over. So we might as well lay it out now before we do. You know, they say when you cross over, there could be something waiting there for you. And it's all about how you lived your life here and what you did now that will kind of have an effect on that. So if you see it that way, if you believe that, come on now. Set yourself free now. Clean your slate. Do your righteous things. Straighten up. Feel good. Make it happen. You can only imagine what your life next door will look like. So, yeah, I want to leave you with that. Once again, thank you for joining me, family. Ciao for now.